Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today's Thursday, April 20th. It is 6:27 right now. Market's gonna open in about 3 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we will get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a couple of things here to update, and we should be good to go. It's good. A couple more things here. All right, perfect. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. And we should be good to go. All right, I'll give it a few moments for people to make their way in. And we can get started with our analysis shortly. All right, guys, morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, April 20th. It is 6:28 right now. Market's gonna open in about 2 minutes. Looks like people are still making their way in, so I'll get a few more moments for people to join. Other than that, we can get started shortly. All right, perfect. Let me see who's here so far. Let's see. Morning, David. Morning, Van Hartwig. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Brian. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Christian. Morning, AR. Morning, T. Morning, guys. Morning, everybody. So, all right, guys, it's Thursday, April 20th, 6:29 right now. Market's going to open in about 1 minute. We'll see what happens right here when the market opens, and then we'll see where this takes us. So market is opening right about now. And there goes opening bell. Let me check the calendar real quick to see the news from today. Right here on Thursday, we had news at 5:30 a.m. unemployment claims and Philly manufacturing index. We had news at 5:30, and then we have more news over here at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and Yellen is supposed to speak today as well. So 5:30, 7:30. See, we got 5:30 right here, the big candle. Seven. $7:30. And I'll check my FX book to see if there's any specific time for Yellen to come up and speak. So, all right, let's see what else we got over here. News over here at 7, high impact news, existing home sales, etc. 7:38. There's nothing here specific for Yellen. She's supposed to speak today though, so she's tentative. Not sure what time she'll speak, but we'll see. It's not here on my FX book, so if we get an update somewhere, we'll take a look. But if we start to see market move kind of crazy, then you have a good idea why it's moving crazy, because Yellen's probably speaking. Anyways, no entries for us to take right here, guys. Price is moving back and forth, as you guys can see. Huge spike down, huge spike up. And we'll just play by ear. So we're going to see where price is currently going. We have a pending sell signal right now, but there's no higher high. So there's no entry for us to take at the moment. We currently have a lower high right here. So there's nothing for us to look at right now per se, but we'll keep an eye out to see when something does appear, which, can happen at any moment. Hey, Tom, morning. Morning, CJ. Morning, Maria. Morning, Daniel. Morning, everybody. Morning, Glenn. All right, guys, 6:31 right now. Market just opened. We have this pending sell signal that's starting to close, but there's not going to be any entry here because there is no higher high. There's no higher high, and price already broke and closed past the past pivots 1 and 2. So there's not going to be an entry for us right here for this specific candle. Let me go ahead and mark up opening price right here as well. Mark up opening time as well right there, 6:30 and 8 o'clock. All right, so there's not really too much going on right here. As you guys can see, price is just kind of going sideways at the moment. I got to clean this up over here. I got a ton of drawings from yesterday. I got to clean this up, but it's okay. I'll leave them up there. I'll just leave this here for now, and we'll see where this ends up taking us. So here is the clean chart. As you guys can see, not too much direction here. Here's our chart markup. There's no entry here for us either. Sell signal did not close yet. We need that to close, and it'll provide a new lower low. So we need a new lower low here before we can start looking for entry. Yeah, so let's give it some time here, and then we'll end up coming back to double take on it. Let me check the CNBC news real quick. It says Dow opens more than 100 points lower as profits concerns build. Tech leads lower tech, or Tesla leads lower tech. Yeah, so it noted right here that price came up. As soon as it came up, price came right back down. So like typical thing here where CNBC does the opposite of what price actually does. They mentioned that price was up, price came crashing right back down right here, right after. And then we'll just continue to see where this takes us. Looking over here across the board. So the Dow 30 is currently, let me just change it to US. So the Dow is currently down 167 points. It's the strong fundamental bias right now. With regard to fundamentals, S&P over here is down 27 points, Nasdaq's down 92 points, Russell 2K is up 3 points, and the VIX is currently at 4%. So with that said, the Dow is currently down. We currently have not a super strong sell bias, but it's a pretty decent strong sell bias for the fundamentals. Let's take a look at retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is currently 63% short. So there's a bit of a conflict here. The conflict is that retail traders are currently selling right now. So there's 63% of retail traders who are currently on the sell side. So we typically want to do the opposite and buy. However, the fundamentals here are very strong, or not very strong, but they're pretty strong for a sell right now. They're down 167 points. This doesn't mean that this is necessarily going to stay that way for the entire day. But let's take a look at the stock index right now. So if you look at the stock index, there's only 3 stocks here that are currently green. A lot of them are pretty red, but these can recover over time. So within the next hour or so, a lot of these red stocks over here can suddenly turn green. So we'll come back and check on that. The main stock here that's really red is American Express. Amex is currently down 9.49 points. Microsoft is down 2 points. So we'll see if this here starts to soften up. We really just need the Amex over here to the Amex stock to recover a little bit, but it is dropping heavier. As you can see, it's now down 10 points. So we'll check what happens in the the next couple of moments. However, at this moment right now specifically, we may have an entry here. We have a lower low and a pending buy signal right here on this candle. Let me check the higher time frames real quick. I mean, everything's kind of shifting right now, so let's clean everything up over here. So let's see, the bias right now is pretty strong for a sell, overall bias. Okay, so this candle broke and closed past the pivots, but did not close at the buy signal, so there's no entry there. There's no entry for a buy, which is completely fine because we have a stronger bias for a sell anyway. So I would be more comfortable taking sells here versus buys. Looking over here on the higher time frames, you can see the 4 hour has now shifted. It's now shifting to a sell bias. 1 hour is bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 1 minute's neutral, 5 minutes neutral, and 10 minutes bearish. So 1, 5, and 4, or sorry, basically the 1 and 5 minute time frames are neutral. 10 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour time frames are pretty much bearish. So we have a bearish bias with regard to technicals. We have a bearish bias with regard to fundamentals. And for retail sentiment, we have a bullish neutral. So with that said, overall bias here is bearish. So just be careful with your entries, guys, because there's no clear direction right now. For the past couple of weeks, price has been bullish bias. But for now, it looks like price is pretty much right down the middle for the most part. There's not really much for us to look at here because nothing's really aligning, right? There's no confluence. Technicals are bearish, fundamentals are bearish, retail sentiment's bullish, but we'll have to see how this ends up turning because this can shift and this can shift too, but fundamentals and technicals are quicker to shift. So just keep that in mind, guys. The retail sentiment here doesn't change very often. This will probably stay around this for the rest of the week. But the fundamentals can shift at any moment. You just got to see here if these stocks here start to recover. As you guys can see, I mentioned a few minutes ago that Amex was the one that was pretty much weighing down the stock index, and Amex is now starting to recover. So it was down like 10 points. It's now only down 5 points. So if this starts to recover back to positive, the fundamentals here can shift right back up. Fundamentals are currently down 158 points. So we'll see what happens shortly, but there's nothing for us to take here at the moment. Currently have a higher high right here, but we need a buy signal to close. So currently have that higher high right there. Have the lower low right here. Price is pretty much just ranging at the moment. I'll mark that up over here on the clean chart so that you guys can see it better. So here's the current range. As you guys can see, there's not really much going on here. Price pretty much came up here, already established a high because we had the support here. It's been testing it 3 times now. So this is about a triple top right here, as you guys can see. Triple top rejection and double body rejection down here. Or not double body, but double bottom. So price looks like it's pretty much just ranging around this area, but we can't take any sells here until we get that buy signal to close. So what I need to happen here in order for me to take a sell is I need this buy signal to close. Then I need price to push up a little higher to establish a new higher high. And then once we get that there and price comes back down, we can take our sell. But right now we don't have that. So I think this higher high here is going to get pushed up higher. Looks like this candle here, if it closes with a buy signal, might push up a little bit higher just to push it farther out, establish a new higher high. And that's going to be better for us because we can establish, a ceiling from there. But we have nothing to look at the moment. Let me get this real quick. I gotta do something on the side, guys. Gonna answer a couple of questions over here real quick. All right, guys, so there's no entry for us to take here yet. We still need that buy signal. So in order for us to have any sort of entry here, we need that buy signal to close because we can't get another sell signal when we already have one here. As you guys know, these momentum signals come up right after each other. So we typically have the opposite after each other. We have momentum swing up, momentum swing down, momentum swing up, momentum swing down. So we can't get another sell signal here for momentum swing down until we get a buy signal. So momentum swing down, we need one to swing up, and then we have another sell to swing down. But at the moment right here, there's nothing for us to take. So what we might get here is we might get price to push down a little bit, establish a new lower low, and then swing back up for a buy. But I mean, we don't have that yet. All right. Sorry, guys. I just had to answer a couple of questions right here outside of the window. But there's nothing for us to take right here. I'm just waiting patiently for something here to come up. But as I mentioned, we're looking for that buy signal to come up in order for us to identify a sell. But it wouldn't matter here because we currently have a higher low in between the higher high. So even if we got the sell entry at some point, it just wouldn't work out. So we need to wait for another setup here to play out. So at the moment, there's nothing for us to take right here. We're just waiting for a new higher high or a new lower low to establish. And also this buy signal here to play out so that we can look for another opportunity to make entry. All right. All right, so we don't really have much going on here, guys. First news event's coming up right here at 7. It's in about 15 minutes. It seems like the market's pretty much going to be flat until it gets to that point. Because I think at this point right here, we're going to get a pretty big price movement. Let me check the calendar real quick to see what it is. So at 7 o'clock, we have a lot of high impact news right here. We have consumer confidence for Euro. It's not gonna affect us directly, but it will affect us indirectly. However, the big news events here that's going to push price around is existing home sales and existing home sales as well for month over month, and the existing home sales for this month specifically. Let's see. So they're expecting existing home sales to decline. So as you guys can see over here, they're expecting it to be negative. It's forecasting that it'll be negative 4.2%. Last month, it was 14.5%. So that's a big drop. I don't think it's going to drop that much, but I think it's going to be negative. So we'll see. That's a pretty big drop. Negative 4.2%. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, as I mentioned, I don't think we're going to get much movement here until then. So we just got to wait for this to play through. All right, so price is pushing up. We currently have that pending buy signal. This is a good sign. Okay, perfect. So this is exactly what we wanted. We have this buy signal here closing. There's a new higher high right here. So price comes back down from where it's currently at. And great, we're going to have room for entry here. However, the main thing that you want to be careful for here is that we have news coming up very shortly. So last thing you want to do is hop into a trade here, and then you'd be stuck in it as we get close to news, because I'm expecting a price spike right here at 7 o'clock. So if we don't get an entry very soon, then I'm just going to hold off on it because it's 6:46 right now. We have about 14 minutes until news, and you definitely don't want to be caught in a position when news strikes. So once this candle right here closes, we'll have opportunity to look for an entry here. This is a perfect candle right here. As you guys can see, huge spike to the upside. And we'll see how this ends up playing out shortly. Okay, this candle is way too big, guys. I'm definitely not going to take this candle right here. As you guys can see, the setup came up perfect. Higher high, price spiked down super heavy and it broke down below the pivots with the sell signal, but I'm probably not going to take this one. This is what I was looking for, but I'm not going to take it because this candle is just way too big. Yeah, I don't know if I'll take this, guys, because, you know, if you get a big candle like this, it's going to retrace at least a little bit. So I'm not going to enter right away. I'll probably watch it and I'll see if it ends up coming back down, but I'm probably not going to enter this right away because I'm worried that it'll retrace on me. That was a huge spike to the downside. If you look at it right here, though, price is not moving very much. Price is actually barely moving at all. Yeah, so that would have been a great entry right there, but I didn't want to take it because that huge spike was just, it was just too messy. So if you guys took it, great work. I didn't take it, so I'm not going to count it as a win. However, it was a win right there. It's just, it was too risky of a move. And also, I mean, it looks like the candles are moving a lot, but they're not really moving too much. As you can see, the stop loss over here, it's actually, it would have covered the entire candle. So we technically could have taken the entry, but I didn't want to risk it, obviously. So if you guys took it, great. If you guys didn't, it's completely fine. But this is the setup that we were looking for. We had the higher high right here, price broke and closed below it. So this is the type of setup that's perfect for us to take. Just if this candle here wasn't that big. If this candle closed maybe half the size, I would have been more than happy to take the trade. But yeah, this is the setup that we're looking for. We look for a higher high, establish the top, and then we look for that sell signal to break and close past the pivots like it did right here. With that said, you know, easy win right there. So if you guys caught it, looks like Kenny over here caught it. So Kenny just posted his profits, total profit of 600 for the day. Nice work, Kenny. So very nice win right there. If anybody else took it, you know, go ahead and send in your profits. I didn't take the trade, so I have no profits to send in, but that was pretty much what we were looking for. We have a new low over here. So the range here just got extended out a bit more. A couple more profits over here from Sisu. Sisu's currently up 1,417 for the day. He's trading CJ this morning. Sam said, did Yellen speak? Pretty big drop. I have no idea. I don't think she spoke yet. Let me check. Yeah, I don't see anything over here from Yellen speaking right now. It says SpaceX launches towering Starship rocket, but suffers mid-flight failure. SpaceX. It's the only news that I can see right there. So yeah, I don't think Yellen started speaking yet, Sam, but that would be my guess as well if it did happen. Let's see, Karen said was in the breakout for a sell, so that spike was lovely. Yeah, nice work, Karen. So Karen actually took the sell here for the breakout. Looks like. Oh, so you're holding this for a while then, huh? Karen, from right here. Perfect. Yeah, so that probably gave you the opportunity to pull out. Let's see. Satyam said, did not take it. Learning discipline from you. I did take the double body rejection right before it. Yeah, so it looks like some of you guys here did take the V1 variation. I think Maria took it and Satyam took it. There's a V1 variation right here. And it looks like a couple of you guys took that for the sell. I would have been okay to take it if this candle here wasn't so humongous, but if you guys did take that, great work. There's nothing for us to take right now. We're getting really close to news price over here at 7 o'clock. I know typically we disregard news, but this news here is very high impact. So I'm not looking to take trades here because the existing home sales is going to basically outline how the economy is doing. Because if the economy is not doing well, home sales are going to decline, which I'm pretty sure they are going to decline. You know, we're going into recession. Interest rates are very high. Like whoever is part of like I don't know if you guys have been following the housing market, but a lot of these, you know, these plans, like if you guys saw I forgot what it was called, but I was doing some research on it and I was talking to my buddies who are in mortgages. A lot of the plans that the government are starting to release, they're basically making it easy for people who aren't ready to buy homes. So it's going to be a domino effect later in time. It's kind of crazy. Like the better your credit is and stuff, the higher rates you get. But there's just a lot of new plans that the government's releasing, and it just doesn't really make sense what they're releasing. They're making it basically harder for people who are ready to buy a home versus making it easier for people who aren't necessarily financially ready to buy a home, which is pretty crazy. So I think this number here is going to change a little bit. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of minutes or so. Yeah, exactly. Martha said, yes, big push for LMI business. Yeah. Low to moderate income. Exactly. Yeah. And I agree with you too, Martha. And I think that's a horrible thing. It's going to create it's going to create a market crash, in my opinion, kind of like what happened in the last crash. It's same as 08. They're basically making it really easy for low to moderate income, and they're making it harder for people who actually make a lot of income that can afford the house. They're just trying to balance the playing field, but it's not necessarily a good thing, I feel. And I think that's why this is going to affect the market very much, because this is going to dictate, what's going to happen next. Because we'll see. We got the news coming up right there. That's the only reason I'm avoiding it, because I know this is really high impact news. Typically, if it was something that was small, then I would just take the trade. Except for last Wednesday. If you guys remember last Wednesday, we had the oil news come out, and typically it's very low impact, and it really pushed the price down. So I'd rather be on the safer side today, guys. We had a great week so far. We've had a great week so far. I'm not looking to take anything too risky here, unless it's like, pretty certain. Yeah, Martha said 100% financing coming back. Yeah, it's crazy because like someone who's low income can get like a 3% rate, and then if I wanted to buy a house, I'd get like a 7% rate or higher, which doesn't really make sense. But we'll see. We'll see how this ends up playing out shortly. We have 5 minutes till news, so I think that's enough time for us to wait. I think you guys can sit on your hands for like 5 minutes and wait for this news event to pass. I would probably recommend to sit out. I'll see if there's any entries here, but as I mentioned, I'm not going to be taking anything here. Looks like we're going to establish a new lower low right here. There we go. So we have a new lower low right here. I'm going to go and update this low. And then we will see where this ends up going. All right, so there goes a lower low right there. As price starts to push lower and lower from what's currently at. So this is the move that we were looking for. You guys can see the initial move right here with the higher high, sell signal here, breaking close past the pivots. Price came down super heavy. The reason why price came down right here is because of our analysis from earlier this morning. If you guys remembered, I mentioned the fundamentals were bearish. Technicals here were pretty much bearish across all the time frames. So we had a strong sell bias here. The only conflicting data was the retail sentiment over here, because retail sentiment was 63% short. This isn't necessarily an end all be all, because this here indicates that it's starting to shift. Earlier this week is at about 68%. A lot of people pulled out of their shorts after they lost a lot of money, and then they shifted over to the buy side. But we'll see if it balances. I mean, price could still bounce at any moment here. Let's see if there's any price points for price to bounce. I mean, price is technically at the low right now for the 30-minute 1 hour. So if you maximize the 1 hour over here, you guys would be able to see that price is actually at this lower low. So, I mean, there's a possibility of a bounce here. If not, next area for possibility of bounce would be probably down here. But we'll see. Let's see. Satyam said liquidity push work, Sean. Nice. So it looks like Satyam over here actually caught the liquidity push. If you guys have been sitting in on my mentoring sessions, I did teach that in the last session. So if you guys remember it over here, this entire liquidity area of liquidity right here, it pushed all the way down to the bottom. So if you guys remembered from Tuesday's mentoring session, I explained pretty much in detail. I think I showed this to you, Martha, right? Because Martha was really intrigued as like how to identify this stuff. And it's pretty simple. So price was pushing up right here. We had a sell bias. We had all these areas of liquidity right here. So when price knocked down to this area of liquidity, it just kept dropping lower and lower and lower and lower, right? All the way down to the bottom. So if you guys caught that, great. If you guys didn't, it's okay. Again, if you guys want to rewatch that, just pull up the YouTube channel. And you guys can see the, I explained pretty much how you would be able to identify this area of liquidity. And typically when you're trading liquidity, you want to be trading in the direction of the bias. Bias for today was bearish with regard to the fundamentals and technicals. So if you guys identified that properly and listened to my analysis, you guys could have identified the liquidity on the downside. So nice work, Satyam. So you caught it for like 300 pips. Let's see, Daniel's asking, is 654 a high level momentum? 54. So I don't see anything over here right now. Daniel, 657, 654. Yeah, the only high level momentum was up here. It was at 647. There's no other momentum signals in between. So there hasn't been anything since then. There's one that's pending right here though. So we have a lower low. If we get a buy signal that breaks and closes past the pivots, then that would be a high level momentum scalp. But there's nothing over here in between because you need a momentum signal for entry. But there hasn't been one since. Nice. Karen said she hopped back into the breakout when it went back to entry and pulled out for profit. Nice work, Karen. So nice exit right there. Well, you could. All right, guys, news is happening right about now. Here's a news candle right here. I'm going to mark up news. So let's see how price pushes from here. All right, this here is the news candle. Let me go and take a look at the calendar real quick. Let me see what it looks like. All right, so existing home sales here, it's not necessarily good, but it's still down 2%. So they were forecasting it to be negative 4.2%, but it was really only down negative 2.4. So it's better than expected, but it's still not good for the economy because it's still down, right? You typically want existing home sales to be high. Right now, it's still like pretty much neutral. It just dropped down a little bit by 2%. However, the existing home sales for this specific month have went down slightly. So it was 4.55 million. They were forecasting to be 4.5. It was actually 4.44. So existing home sales have went down. Existing home sales month over month have went down as well, but they're not very strong. They're just down slightly. So overall, the news is not necessarily good. And as you guys can see over here, price is starting to drop further. So yeah, price is moving in the direction that it's supposed to be because the news was not necessarily great news. It was positive for a time being, but overall, it's not good news. And you can see price starting to dump down right here pretty heavy. So there goes the news candle right there, or not the news candle, but the news push. Yeah, it's starting to dump. So this is why you definitely don't want to enter trades around certain news events like this. So news is not good. And it is starting to drop further. All right, fundamentals are very strong for a sell. Now, as you guys can see here, fundamentals are currently down 213 points for the Dow. They're down 28 points for the S&P, down 67 points for the NASDAQ, down 13 points for the Russell 2K, and currently at 5% for the VIX. With that said, we're probably going to be looking for or we probably would be more comfortable with sells today, but the bounce can happen. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't be too scared to take buys here. The buys here isn't super strong because the sentiment here is still 63% short. So sentiment 63% short, fundamentals are currently down 200 points. Technicals over here, obviously very bearish, as you guys can tell. But it is at a near support area. So it's currently bearish on the 1 minute, bearish on the 5 minute, bearish on the 10, and bearish on the 30, bearish on the 1, and neutral bearish on the 4 hour. So pretty much all the time frames except the 4 hour are very bearish. The 1 minute over here is starting to shift to the upside. All right, so we had a lower low down here. We had pending buy signal, but the buy signal did not close. So there's no entry for us to take here for a buy. We had that lower low right there. We had price break and close past the pivots, but there was no momentum signal on that candle. So there's no opportunity for entry. Let's see. So D's asking if there was a high-low scalp over here. So there's no high-low scalp here, D, because this candle here already touched it. So let me go over here real quick. So there was a low right here, but this candle already touched it. So this here wouldn't be valid. And same with this one right here. For this low over here, there was no break and close. This candle touched it. So there's no high-low scalp right there. So whenever you're looking at the lows for the high-low scalps, there can't be any, like price cannot touch the previous low. It has to break and close past it. All right, let me put the criteria up here. So guys, just keep in mind that the main strategy that we're applying is the high-low momentum scalp. There's a couple of people here who are applying different strategies, the high-low scalp, pivot scalp, momentum scalp. We have like over 30 strategies here that you guys can learn from the course. But for these live sessions, our main focus is going to be on this strategy here for our official entries. I just want to show you guys that if you guys apply just one strategy, you guys can do very well. However, if you guys become more on the advanced side, you guys are more than welcome to learn any of the other strategies that I have. You know, I've been trading live with you guys for over 5 years now, 5 to 7 years. And every strategy I've released to you is available to you guys. So all the strategies work perfectly fine. It's just this one's the easiest one to apply because it doesn't require too many criteria for you guys to identify entries. There's technically only 2 requirements here. I know there's 3 here, but there's technically 2 because 2 and 3 are the same thing. They can be combined. Yeah, no problem, Daniel. I know it's kind of hard to see if you don't draw the line on there, but once you draw the line, you can see that it does touch. I think that was like one of the main issues for a lot of people when applying it. But yeah, if you're looking to take the high-low scalp, I would definitely look for sells because the bias right now is very strong for a sell. So price may correct back up, but then it's likely to come back down. So yeah, something to look out for there. I mean, you can look for trades, you can look for entries in both directions really, because whenever the market's pretty much one-sided, there's going to be a lot of, back and forth movement. So like, for example, over here, if this here closed with the high-low in place, I probably would have entered this here for a high-low scalp, but it didn't. The high-low got invalidated and pushed up higher. Some profits here for Maria. Maria's currently at 427 for the day. Nice work, Maria. So great work right there. Some profits on the sell. Here's Natasha. Natasha locked in a total profit of 645 for the day. Great work, Natasha. Both wins on both sides. So some solid work right there. Yeah, it looks like some of you guys here did take the sell that came up earlier. I missed that one, but looks like a handful of you guys here did take him. All right, so there's still no entry for us to take here, guys. I mean, we're just waiting. Let me check the stock index real quick, see if anything here is changing. So let's see. It's pretty much the same. Amex is still down 5 points. Caterpillar's down 2 points. Chevron's down 1 point. I don't really know what's causing the price to kind of be all volatile like this. Let's see, home sales fell in March amid volatility in mortgage rates. Yeah, this is exactly what we just discussed earlier, guys, before the news event. So yeah, there was a decline there with regard to home sales. The Dow is currently down 162 points, so it's starting to recover a little bit. Not a crazy amount, but it is recovering a bit right here. So here we go, as price pushes back up. We'll see if it provides opportunity for us to ride this down. All right. Let's see, iPhone say double bodies on the 1 hour and 2 hour. Let's check this out. So looking over here on the 1 hour, I don't think it's a double body. It's not exactly on line. So iPhone over here, if you draw a line at the bottom of this point, you can see that the green candle is actually lower than it. So this here actually wouldn't be a double body. I know sometimes it looks like it, but so this right here would be a double body. See how this one right here is flush? This here would be a double body. You put a line there, it's on the same area, and you can see how it reversed down super hard, right? Unfortunately, this one right here is not exactly lined up. It's not flush with it. So this might just be a fake out. Price may push up and then come right back down. So if it looks close like this, make sure to put a line there, and you can see that the green candle is a little bit lower. So unfortunately, no double body there. If there was a double body, that'd be nice, because then it can identify that price is going to swing back up. But just looking at it from here, close, but not close enough. So we'll just wait. But that would have been good, because if we had that right there, we can pretty much predict that price is going to swing up, but I did not close that way. Yeah, Glenn said candle sizes are barely 300 pips though. Yeah, the candles here look big, but they're not really that big. They're about like 300 pips. So, I mean, they're big compared to the other candles, but for the most part, volatility right now is super low. It looks like price has been moving like a crazy amount, right? Let me go and measure this real quick. So it's about 1,000 pips. It's below average. Typically, you'd expect it to move about 1,500 pips by now. The market's been open for almost an hour now, so you expect it to move at least a little higher, but the volatility right now is still kind of low. So yeah, Glenn, I agree with you. Volatility here is just not pushing around too much. We don't have any room for entry right here, guys. We currently have a lower high right here. So in order for us to get a new higher high, we either need price to go sideways for a bit, or we need price to push up right here and provide, that higher high point. All right, so I'm fine with price pushing up higher. If price pushes up higher to this point, it'll establish a new higher high. And that's what we need. We can't take any sells here until we get a higher high. So I need price to push up, or I need price to go sideways for a bit and then push up. Because if that happens, this lower high right here will establish, and it'll establish a new higher high from that point. But if we don't get that, then we're just gonna have to wait. All right. This market is not really doing too much today. You guys can see price is kind of just going back and forth, but not establishing new higher highs or lower lows. It's just kind of going back and forth. So here's a clean chart over here, guys. As you guys can see, price isn't really doing too much. It's just been going back and forth pretty much all day. Here's the high point, and here's the low point, and here's opening price. So this blue line right here is where market opened, about 30 minutes to an hour ago, and it hasn't really gone anywhere. It's just been sticking right down here in the middle. And it just keeps pushing back and forth. But there's no real direction here, as you guys can see. This is the clean chart. All right, so it looks like price is going to consolidate a bit. Let me check what news is coming up at 7:30. 7:30, it's EIA natural gas stock change. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact, but I think it will push price a little bit because if you guys have noticed over the past 2 weeks now, the oil news has been somewhat pushy. Okay, so natural gas storage over here. So it was previously at 25 billion. They're forecasting it to be 69 billion. This is probably not a good thing because it just means that they're not selling gas. So it might be enough for price to drop down. So if this news here at 7:30 is negative, I think price will probably get propped up here a little bit. You can see it's getting propped up here now. This big green candle right here is pushing up. And I think it's preparing for the news event here for it to come right back down. So we just need this to push up a little higher. As you guys can see, this big candle over here just spiked up real quick. We just need to wait for it to push up a bit higher to establish, a new higher high, which we currently don't have yet. Let's see. Glenn said, I noticed lately during high impact news, market is barely moving. I think people are getting smarter, not trading news, especially high impact. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. That's really what's happening. People are getting smart and they're just not trading around news events. I mean, there's always going to be people gambling on news events because the volatility is high, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of people are starting to just wait, which is what we've been doing over the years. We don't really trade news events. Unless like there's a really good entry there. Here's some profits from Patricia. Patricia's currently up 3,620 for the day, all wins. Nice work, Patricia. She got those bounces back to the upside. Solid moves. I'm gonna go and clean up the chart a little bit over here. Okay, guys, so looking over here, you guys can see the 1 minute and 5 minute are currently now bullish. 10 minute is neutral, 30 minute is bearish, 1 hour is bearish, and the 4 hour is bearish neutral. So with that said, we'll see where this ends up pushing through. Price pushed up a little bit higher right there. We currently have the higher high at this moment. So we have a new higher high. We can possibly catch this, come back down if possible. So we have the higher high right here. We'll see how this here rejects. And if it comes back down, if and when it does, then we can look for a possible sell. All right, just waiting for this candle here to close so I can drop my zone. 10 seconds left. We got some time. All right, so there we go. We have the higher high right here, established a zone at this point. We now are waiting for price to come down, breaking close past the pivots with the sell signal. So we typically want it to be a pretty smooth push. If this starts to push to the upside, it's not going to be very smooth at all. It's probably going to consolidate a bit. My guess is that that's what's probably going to happen here. It's 7:16 right now. It's about 14 minutes till news right here at 7:30. I think price will probably consolidate for a bit before news and then make its move. But again, over here, I'm going to be very careful about taking any trades around news price because if you guys remember from last Wednesday, we kind of got screwed on a trade that wasn't supposed to be high impact, but the news event did affect the market. It was oil news, which is exactly what's happening right here. This is also natural gas. Well, natural gas falls under gases and oil, so it's pretty much the same difference. All right, so we're still looking for a possible sell here if we can get that anytime soon, but if price starts to consolidate, then I'm just going to sit it out and wait for the next one. Dejan's asking if the Fed is speaking tomorrow. Let me check the calendar real quick. So today, Yellen is supposed to speak. She's tentative. I don't know if she's going to speak or not. There's no guarantee, but she is scheduled to speak today, tentatively. We have Fed member Waller speaking later today, Fed member Bowman, Fed member Harker. So 3 Fed members speaking today. And then tomorrow there's no Fed meeting. So tomorrow's Friday, no Fed meetings. However, there is high impact news. There's flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI. So basically inflation news tomorrow. So we do have Fed member Cook speaking. Sorry, Dejan. He's speaking at 1 o'clock. So we won't be trading around that time, but he is speaking later in the day. He's pretty much going to cover the PMI news or inflation news, whatever you guys want to consider it. Same difference. All right, we have a higher high right here. If this candle breaks and closes past the pivots with the sell signal, there's technically going to be an entry here. Again, this candle here is quite big, so you want to be a bit careful about taking the entry here. I'll be watching it. I'll let you guys know if I do take it, but I'm going to wait a little bit and make sure that it actually closes, because this thing's spiking around quite a bit. And I want to be a bit careful with taking this entry because we're getting close to news, because the last thing I want to do is take an entry and then be stuck holding this up until news. But again, if you guys want to take this trade, this is a valid entry. You have to wait for the candle to actually close with the sell signal. We have 15 seconds left on this candle. We'll see how it ends up pushing, because that is still quite a bit of time. We got 5 seconds left on this candle here. Wait for the candle to close, and it did not close. So it didn't close with the sell signal, so there's no entry there. Unfortunately, it didn't close. I was really tempted to take it because the candle started to pull back a little bit, and I was hoping it was going to close properly, but it didn't. So again, guys, no entry here. Question from Tom. Tom is asking, do you know if Social Trader Tool works when used with a broker that uses different contract sizes? Yes, because you can set your own lot size. So it doesn't really matter if the broker uses a different lot size. You would just set a fixed lot size, or you would set a percentage of a lot size. Yeah, no problem, Tom. I suggest you guys go and play around with those tools. Like the Social Trader tools, you can open you have like one free account to add to it. So you can always open it and test it out and then play around with it. But yes, short answer to your question is you can set there's an option to set fixed lot size. Let's see. Nick said, what a day, all these potential entries, but nothing actually coming up. I'll be back in 20 minutes. All right, Nick, we'll see. Hopefully you make it back in time. Yeah, there's a double body right there, a V1 variation, but there's no pending signal. So there's no actual V1 right here, guys. In order for it to be a V1 variation, it requires a pending signal. So that one right there didn't have it, unfortunately. Yeah, number 4, confirm pending momentum in that direction of the trade. I know, right, Maddie? That's what I'm expecting too. All right, guys, we have news coming up here shortly. Yeah, exactly, break time. We have news coming up in about 10 minutes. There's nothing for us to take right here. There's no buys, no sells, nothing for us right now specifically. In order for us to get a sell, we need price to push up a bit higher. So we need a new higher high in order for us to get that. If we don't get that, then obviously, no entry at this moment. All right, looks like we might be getting a higher high here. If price pushes past this this higher high, then it's just going to establish another one, which is fine. I prefer that because then we have room for it to drop back down. We have about 9 minutes till news, guys. So it's coming up shortly. In my opinion, I think price will probably just consolidate a bit until news happens. And I think when news happens, it'll come right back down. No areas of liquidity. There's a possible high low right here. So if price does come back down, you guys can possibly look at this as a opportunity for a high low scalp. But yeah, nothing here yet. What we need here is we need price to push past this this zone here. If price pushes past it, we'll get a new higher high. And then from there, we can look for some more entries down low. All right, there's nothing here for us to take. So I'm just looking back at the V1s that came up. There's actually a pretty good amount here that came up and they all hit. V1 right there. Trace back a little bit, straight to TP. Yes, there's quite a bit of V1 variations that are coming up. For this right here, guys, there's no entry. Just keep in mind, we need a higher high. There's a lower high right here. So it's not a higher high, just an FYI. One thing to possibly look for would be that high-low scalp right here, though, that I was mentioning. Price does push below, but we'll see. Again, no opportunity for entry here. Price just keeps bouncing back and forth. All right, nothing there. Yeah, so as you guys can see, price isn't really doing too much here. As I mentioned earlier, guys, it's pretty much consolidating right here up until news. So realistically, I mean, if you looked at it closely, you can see here that price has pretty much just been ranging. So it's ranging back and forth right here. It's just waiting for news to happen for the most part. That's what I can see. Sell signal right there, but again, there's no entry for us. There's no higher high. You know, if price ends up breaking, closing past this area here with the sell signal, then this might be a triple confluence, actually. You guys know how those play out. All right, still nothing here. Let me check the calendar real quick. Let's see if there's anything else here for us to maybe pay attention to. So the Dow's pretty much been at the same area pretty much all morning. It's still down 147 points. S&P is down 20 points. NASDAQ's down 45 points. Russell 2K is down 8 points. The VIX is currently at 3%. Looking over here at the stock index. Stock index is pretty much the same. Not much has changed. Looking over here at retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is currently 63% short. So there hasn't really been too much of a change. Fundamentals are still bearish. Technicals are still bearish. Retail sentiment is still bullish. So there's a conflict right there. Looking over here, 1 minute, 5 minute bullish, 10-minute neutral, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour bearish. So the higher time frames are bearish, lower time frames are somewhat bullish to neutral. So I think price will likely drop. You know, the higher time frames are typically in control, lower time frames are temporary. So yeah, I think this push up right here is temporary, and I think price will make its drop at some point, probably at news price over here, depending on when it's released. But they are forecasting news to be negative. So news over here. Yeah. My FX book is actually forecasting it to be even worse. Or that's about the same. We got 3 minutes left. It's supposed to be bad news. So we'll see what happens there. Again, guys, no room for entry here. It looks like the candles are getting smaller and smaller. They're really just waiting for the news event to happen. So I'll probably just sit tight and wait for news here to play out. All right, guys, we got news coming up in about 3 minutes. Yeah, I mean, not really much happening right here. As you guys can see, volatility just died down, volume died down. Candles getting smaller. They're just starting to squeeze. So as you can see, price starting to squeeze down here as we get closer to news, and it's just preparing for the breakout. Breakout's going to happen soon. My guess is that breakout's going to happen to the downside. There goes your triangle right there. By the time it reaches news, it's going to break past it. So we got 2 minutes till news, and we will see what happens then. I'm looking for at least one entry today. I'm actually hoping the news price pushes price around. That's it's crazy. It says Ford F-150 Lightning. Pretty much blew up. I don't think there's anything else going on aside from the SpaceX failing to launch. Oh, that's crazy. This is on Pro. So there's an article right here. It says luxury stocks are on a tear, and now there's an index to follow the 1%. That's interesting. So you know how we have our US30 index? There's a new index that's being established to follow the 1%. So you can see how the 1% is doing, which obviously is going to be bullish. I think that'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, other than that, there's nothing else here. Yeah, not really much going on. All right, guys, we have news coming up right here in about 10 seconds. Let's see what happens here. I think price will drop. It might fake out to the top, but I think eventually it'll come back down. All right, so here goes a news candle. I'll check the news real quick, see what it was. I'm pretty sure it was negative, but we'll see. But this here is the news candle. All right, let's refresh. Still currently pending. My FX book. So it's actually positive, very positive. Well, this is for the gas stock change. Let me check this over here. Natural gas storage. So it's negative, yeah. So my FX book and Forex Factory they were measuring two different things. This was measuring natural gas storage, and this was measuring natural gas stock change. So stock change was up. However, the storage here was negative. So the news here is technically negative. They're forecasting to be 69 billion. It was actually 75 billion. So they have a lot in storage. And, I was expecting price to come down, but it didn't really do too much here. Or maybe it'll have a late effect. So it might have a late effect, but it was pretty much anti-climax. There's nothing that happened. We were expecting there's an anti-climax. Like we were expecting it to spike, and it just didn't do anything. So market is still pretty flat right here. I do think price will come down eventually. The news was technically negative, so might bounce around a bit, but I think eventually it'll make its way down. So, I mean, a couple of things that you guys might want to look for, possibly a triple confluence, because we still have that sell signal that hasn't broken and closed, and there's a lot of areas down here that need to be tested, aka liquidity. So you guys can see here some liquidity zones getting built up. There's liquidity zones on the top side too. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I probably wouldn't take liquidity to the top side, but there is liquidity on both sides right there. I think what might happen here is price might push up, establish a new higher high, and then come down super heavy. We actually have one right here now. So we currently have a higher high that is pending right here. So let's see if this kickstarts our direction for entry. Just gotta make sure it doesn't drop too low. Below the pivots. 15 seconds left on here. So Dejan said that Yellen is speaking right now. Let me check YouTube real quick. Yeah, because if Yellen's speaking, you guys want to be very careful about taking entry. Um, okay, yeah, Yellen is speaking right now, guys. Thanks, Dejan, for the heads up. All right, so yeah, Janet Yellen delivers remarks on U.S.-China economic relationship. Obviously, this is pretty high impact, and she is speaking right now. So if you guys start to see some unusual movement in price, you guys already know the cue. Yellen speaking. So price is pushing up right here. I don't know what Yellen's saying, but she's obviously saying something. Probably good for the U.S. economy. But all right, that's fine. So you guys want to be a bit careful with your entries if you guys do decide to take anything, because Yellen is speaking right now. You see this unusual price movement. Price is pushing up pretty hard. I'm assuming Yellen has good things to say right now. So she basically said that our growth is amplified and all this stuff. So I'm just reading right here the subtitles. She is saying good things about the economy. So that's why price is pushing up right here. Says she basically said that the US is on top of like cutting edge technology and stuff, and the economy is advancing and et cetera. All right. So let's see. John said a nice high low. Yeah, so there's high low scalp right here for a buy. I mean, I didn't take it obviously because I wasn't really looking for the buy here. But if you guys remember earlier, so let me just rewind a little bit. I drew the liquidity areas over here. I mentioned there's liquidity on both sides. And you can see right there where the liquidity got hit, basically. So price hit liquidity on the top side right here. There's liquidity on the bottom and the top. Price hit liquidity right there, high low scalp, and then just pushed up higher. I probably wouldn't have taken it though because the bias is pretty strong for a sell. But yeah, I'm just looking for this to come back down, which is what I'm expecting. All right, we got the higher high right here. There goes the higher high. Let's see if price pushes down lower. So if we get a sell signal that breaks and closes past pivots 1 and 2 right here, then we have a possible entry for a sell. Um, This market sucks. So, okay, we have a higher high right here. We're basically waiting for this sell signal and break and close below. The only problem here is that price is consolidating. This is not necessarily the type of movement that you want. If you have a higher high, you want that to establish as a ceiling, and then you want price to come down smoothly. We don't have that here. So I think price may push up a bit higher and establish a higher, an even higher high. And that's kind of what I would prefer. I would prefer price to push up higher, maybe retest the sessions over here, and then come down from that point. Because I think where it's currently at right now is not necessarily a good point to take entry from. Or maybe it could be. I mean, we'll see how it looks like. So we currently have price coming back down right here. We have a pending sell signal. The sell signal needs to break and close past pivots 1 and 2 down here. So if you guys are looking to take this entry, I'll let you guys know shortly if I decide to take it or not. I got to see how this candle closes. If it's too big, then obviously I'm going to wait for a retracement. But if it's a decent size, then I'll just take it right away. Looks like it could be a decent entry. But again, you guys have to wait for the actual candle to close. If you guys have noticed for the past couple opportunities here, these candles have been disappearing at the last second. So you have to you got to wait for this here to close. Got 7 seconds left on this candle here. 3, 2, 1. Possible entry right here. Let me see if I can get in. So I didn't get in yet, guys. I think, let me see if it filled for me. All right, so I'm in the position. It filled me in there. I'm going to watch for it to drop. All right, so we had the higher high right here. The one thing that I didn't really like about the movement here, as I mentioned, was because price was kind of consolidating here a bit. But we do have the higher high, sell signal broken close past the pivots right there. So this does fit criteria. The only problem here is that price was kind of moving sideways for a bit. That's why I kind of wanted to wait for it to swing up a little bit for retracement and then make a late entry for price to swing back down. We'll see where it ends up going. Because Yellen is still speaking right now. So that's like one thing to also keep in mind. Because I mean, typically she has bad things to say, but today it seems like she has good things to say. So it's kind of iffy. Yeah, CJ said he pulled out. He was too scared. LOL. Patricia said didn't take, candle too big. And news, yeah. So the candle here was a little big, as I mentioned. Price is consolidating a bit here. Plus, Yellen is speaking right now at the moment, so it is a bit of an iffy entry, as I mentioned. But we'll see where this ends up going. Hey, Mohammed, how's it going? Morning. All right, so let's see where this ends up pushing to. Trying to see where my thing is at. It's my marker. So still in the position right here. If it hits my stop loss, it's fine. I'm just going to eat the loss, but still in it right now. Yeah, Christian said Yellen is the enemy of all traders. Exactly. Yeah, so I did enter this trade. Unfortunately, I entered it like right away. I was going to wait for it to retrace up and then have my sell stop there, but I just entered it right away because the way it was moving. But again, it kind of gave me hints here of why I didn't really like the trade. For one was that price was kind of consolidating a bit, but I was getting a little impatient. I wanted to enter a trade already. So still holding. All right, so we hit my stop loss. It's all good. So first loss of this week so far, but I mean, we had a pretty good week so far. So this is a loss that we could have taken. Again, going back to my analysis from earlier, guys, as I mentioned, typically when price starts to consolidate like this right here, it's usually it's a trade that we should probably skip. But it's all good. My trade psychology got the best of me right now because I've been waiting for this entry for like all morning. And I was hoping this here would play out, but it didn't. So it's all good. Ate that loss, and I'm on to the next one. Yeah, and one thing too, I probably shouldn't have taken it because Yellen was speaking. I kind of just, that went over my head for a second. I was just looking for an entry there. And yeah, Yellen's not necessarily the best speaker that you want to take trades on, because typically she makes the market drop because she's big on regulation. But for whatever reason today, price has been going up when she's been speaking. So yeah, exactly. Lucas said no more trades during Yellen talks. Yeah, I should have known better. But, as I mentioned, my trade psychology got the best of me. I just really wanted to get into a trade, and I kind of forced this one here. I typically wait for it. If I waited for it, I'd be fine because I wouldn't have been in the position. But it's all good. It happens. So on to the next one, guys. We currently have a new higher high right here. Price is pushing up a bit higher. And I'll take a screenshot of my loss there just to show you guys the trade that I took so that you guys can see. Good thing it kind of closed me out for less, so I didn't really take much of a loss. Locked in a negative 2,000, so no biggie. So here is my, I'll give a screenshot of the trade too so that we can document that. Yeah, because Yellen's still speaking. So probably sit tight until she's done. If you guys want to take another entry, I probably wait until she's done speaking, because she obviously, price should not be going up right here. The news earlier was negative. I mean, everything's pretty much, or it was negative. So you want to be careful and probably wait for it to be done speaking. But anyways, here's my trade that I took right there. Let me just put it over here real quick. Fortunately, loss entry here. Should have skipped analysis to the next one. Yeah, so right there. So I just want to be transparent with you guys. There goes the loss, and there goes my loss right there. It wasn't too bad. I only lost 2,900. I'm still up for the week. I'm up 4,600 on, let me just take a screenshot of this to show you guys. All right, so here's a loss across my accounts right here with my copier. And I just want to show you guys that, these losses can happen and you can still be in profit and bounce back. So my FTMO, I took one trade here for a loss, 2,900. I'm still at 4,600 for the week. My second FTMO, I'm up 4,400 for the week. My MFF, I'm up 1,450. My MFF number 2 up 1,250, and my MFF number 3 up 1,350. So for the week so far, I'm still up pretty heavy. 4,600, 4,400, 1,450, 1,250, 1,350. I'm up 13,000 for the week so far. So no biggie, bounce off the loss and then come back for a couple more winners to pretty much offset that. All right, so I'm probably going to wait for this to, I don't know how long she's going to talk for, honestly. We didn't even know she was going to speak today. She was tentative, and then she just started speaking, which kind of threw the market off a bit. Fundamentals here are still bearish. I mean, they're not very strong, but they're still bearish, down to 82 points. Fundamentals or retail sentiment is 63% short. So there's still a bit of a conflict there. This is still indicating to take buys, and this is still indicating to take sells. So the higher time frames over here are still bearish, while the lower time frames here are bullish. So I think this will correct back down. As you guys can see over here on the 30-minute time frame, you guys can see that there's a nice rejection off the top pivot right there. and probably going to be a top rejection off the 1 hour here and the 4 hour. So I think price will likely correct down to some extent. Yeah, so if and when price does correct back down, target price point is going to be opening price right there. If and when it does, not to say that it will or that it might, but if it does, that's where the target price point is going to be. I see the top wick rejection right here on the 30. I see the top wick rejection right here on the 4 hour as well. So, you know, if that becomes the case and price starts to tumble its way back down, then that's probably where it's going to end up going. Higher high right there. It's right around this area of the sessions. So guys, if you guys have seen before what happens when price gets near the sessions, typically fakes out a little bit and then comes down super hard, or it starts to move super hard. I'll show you guys over here. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, take this alert off. All right, let me turn on the sessions real quick. So you guys can see over here what happens when price gets near the sessions, right? Price comes down right here, kind of consolidates a bit, then it goes complete opposite. Same with this right here. You guys can see how price got down to the sessions. It faked out below here, and then it shot all the way back up. So what do you think will happen here? Probably the same thing, right? Price will either consolidate, fake out, and then come back down. And this is a clean chart right here. So same pattern, something to look out for here. If, you know, if that may be the case. Yeah, Christian said, I think we'll have to consider when Yellen is talking, because 9 out of 10 times she just screws everyone. Yeah, she's a little, I mean, she wasn't as predictable as before, because before she'd be like negative all the time, but she I don't know, today she's positive for whatever reason. Like if you guys ever see Yellen and what's his name? And Powell speak, they're like complete opposites. Like usually when Powell speaks, price goes up. When Yellen speaks, price goes down. But for today, she's been speaking and price has been going up. She's been having a lot of good things to say about the economy, but it is what it is. I just saw the YouTube chat. Yeah, no Rem. I did copy it across my accounts. So, you know, like I showed you guys here, I had a loss across my accounts. I had a bit of a loss here across my accounts, but I'm still up for the week. So that's all about what really matters. The key thing here, guys, is to have a long-term goal, right? It's okay to have losses and then bounce back from them as long as you close out the week in positive. I think that's the main thing to look out for. For this entry right here, guys, there's a possible sell that's coming, but I'm not looking to take it because we have a higher high here and price is doing exactly what we mentioned earlier, right? This is a time when you should probably avoid it because price consolidates. Typically, when you have a higher high, you want a straight push. This entry over here, I probably should have skipped it. I mean, realistically, I even warned you guys before the trade came. I said price was consolidating. But you know, whatever, my trade psychology got the best of me. So back over here with this, we're just looking to, well, I was looking for a possible entry, but now I'm not because price is going sideways. But as I mentioned before on this chart, I kind of marked it up for you guys to see. These fake outs happen. So I think this might happen up here, kind of like what happened down here. Price faked out below pretty heavy, and then it shot the complete opposite. So that might happen here too. Price might push up a bit and then come down super hard. Let's see, C-Suk said Yellen's pushing hard for olive branch to China, reducing the value of dollar possible being lost as China sets up to invade Taiwan. Yeah, I can see that. It's all political. Yeah, no, you're good, Siam. Yeah, Siam thought that Rem was trolling, but he was just pointing out what he basically pointed out before I posted this stuff, because I was going to post the all the accounts anyways. Let's see. Lucas said it did, but it didn't show. At the end of the day, it was a valid trade. Can't stress it much. Just check it up as a 10% of the results. Yeah, exactly, Lucas. I'm just looking to cash this back down. So I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I'm looking for this reversal to happen, and I'm going to try to catch it for like 300 pips so that I can cover that loss. That's basically what I'm doing here. So I'm looking for this setup here. I want this setup here to play out like this. So I'm priced to fake out like a super unusual push and then correction back to the upside. That's kind of what I'm doing right there. I'm looking for that, and I'm going to try to ride it for about a 300 pip push to or more than a 300 pip push, maybe a 450 pip push to offset my losses and go back into profit. So just giving you guys a little hint there of what I'm looking to do here, but it's getting close to 8, so I don't think there's going to be any entry. As you guys can see, the volume here has died down. Candles are very small, not really much for us to look at here. But we'll see where this ends up taking us. I mean, we got about 5 minutes left on the chart till 8 o'clock. So if you guys have anything for me to look at, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I don't think there's going to be any entries here, but I am looking for that reversal back to the downside. So there's a possible entry right here, but again, as I mentioned before, guys, it is a bit of a messy entry. It does end up closing. Now we got 30 seconds left on this here, and the volume here is too low. So I don't think we're going to have an entry here, guys. I mean, if there is an entry, I don't think it's going to close. Yeah, it looks fine. No, not going to end up closing. Yeah. So price is pretty much just consolidating around this area here. Let's see. Tom said he took a loss and his challenge got blown. How'd your challenge get blown, Tom? Or are you, I mean, you must be taking your own trades, and if that's the case, because we only have, we haven't had a loss in like 2 weeks. So I mean, it's obviously not from the live trades. So let's see. For the week so far, we currently have 3 wins this week, I think. 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah. So we have 3 wins and 1 loss. So for this month so far, we have 13 wins and 2 losses. So if you guys are only taking the live trades during these live sessions, you guys should be pretty deep in profit right now. So depending on what your risk is, if you're doing a 1% profit potential, like what we discussed, so like 13 minus 2 losses, 6. So you should still be up 7% so far if you guys were taking these trades. If you took them with a smaller risk, it'd be 0.5 times 13 minus 3. You'd still be up 3.5%, even if you were taking smaller ones. So I mean, either way, you guys should be, if you guys are only taking the live trades, you guys should be pretty solid in profit. Even like my account shows here. Like me, I'm still in profit for the week. All right, Daniel, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Let's see. Tom said, of course, I have to take trades outside the live to make 10%. I mean, not necessarily. We spoke for a whole hour about that, Tom. You just have to, yeah. See, Nick here even also told you, not necessarily. You just need to up your lot size. So, I mean, I feel like we just talked about this, Tom, for like the past few days. You don't have to take more trades. If you take more trades, you're just increasing your risk. You just need to increase your lot size. Or I don't know, I guess you did that before we talked. I feel like we've been talking about the same topic for you for like the past couple of days now. you don't have to take more trades. More trades equal more risk because not every trade's equal, right? You can have a bunch of trades here on the live and they can be good. And then you can have like all those other trades that you're doing yourself, and those can be complete losses. So if you're taking the same amount of risk and you're taking subpar trades, then, you know, obviously you're not going to have the best trades to take. So yeah, I don't know what your situation is, Tom, but you know, you don't have to take trades outside the live. You can take the trades during the live and you can increase your lot size. That's like the easiest way to do it, especially if you're not doing well on your own. So there's no entries for us here, guys. There's a new higher high. Some more profits over here from David. David took a small loss, decent win right there. He's currently up right now, about 10 or 11. Yeah, John here ate that loss earlier, so he's done for the day. And I think that's it for now. All right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. If there's any other questions that you guys have, you know, feel free to put your questions in the chat so I can answer whatever you guys need help with. Otherwise, there is nothing else for us to look at here. It's about to be 8 o'clock. That reversal did not happen yet. So we'll see here. I think one of the main things here to look at, guys, if you guys are still trading, is to see if price comes back below the sessions. If price comes back below from where it's currently at, then my guess is that it's going to fake out like it did right here and come back down pretty heavy. Let's see. Rem said, Sean, have you done analysis on how often the 1-3 saves a trade versus 1-2 to risk reward? I haven't. So I haven't, but the win rate for a 1-3 is it's like a 93% win rate for March. I think we did it over here. Yeah, it's like a 90.8% win rate. Or it's probably better if we took off 9 o'clock. So if we winded it down at 8 o'clock, which we typically trade, it's probably like a 93 to 95% win rate. So the win rate for this is high enough to just keep it at 1-3. So I haven't necessarily done that for a 1-2, but the 1-2 wouldn't work because the stop loss would be too tight. 300 pips is like the sweet spot for stop loss. So we could do a 1-3. You could do a 1-2, but you'd have to do like 150 instead of 100, which I think would work better. So yeah, we haven't done the testing for that yet, but I'm assuming it'd be fine. My brother, if you guys have seen what my brother does, he takes him with a 1-1 point. So what he does is he uses 45 to 300. And he's been doing pretty decent with that too. So, I mean, if you guys want to try play around with it, you guys can. But the way that the market's been moving lately, it's been a little choppy. So it's kind of hard to get a big move like this. This is kind of the move that I'm looking for up here. I'm looking for that fake out. And then I'm going to try to catch it on its way down. Because I think this here would be enough space. One thing to keep in mind as well, guys, is that there's a lot of areas of liquidity right here. So if price does make its way down below the sessions, it's going to drop down pretty heavy, as you guys can see right here. There's a lot of liquidity just waiting to be knocked out. So that reversal is probably going to play out. When it does, it's going to break through here and then blast right through liquidity below. So something to possibly, look out for. But all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else that you guys need help with, just let me know. Tom, if you want to, we can revisit the conversation, but, it seems like every time we talk, you kind of, our discussion kind of contradicts, because we spent like a lot of time discussing how you don't need to take more trades. But it seems like you still think that you need to take more trades outside of the live. That's not the case. You just need to increase your lot size. It doesn't make a difference. If you're doing a 200 lot compared to taking 2 trades, you'd make the same amount of profit on that. But I mean, realistically, if you just look at the trades from this month so far, we've only had 2 losses. So it's impossible for you to blow your account. The only way you blow your account is if you're making your own mistakes. which, is probably the case. So, all right, guys, other than that, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. CJ said, yeah, I'm going to wait on liquidity pushes later and collect my coins like Mario. Yeah, no, exactly. So if you guys are looking for an entry here, guys, this is what I would recommend you guys look for. Wait for some sort of reversal pattern to come up here, like a V1 variation or something like that. And then wait for price to break and close past the sessions right here. Because if that's the case, this is the initiation for price to drop down further and, reach this area of liquidity, because target price point is going to be opening price, which is right here. This is going to be opening price. So you guys can look for that. However, retail sentiment here is starting to pick up, so I don't think price will really drop that heavily. Yeah, so looking at this right here, sentiment's is starting to pick up here, so price might just continue to push up even higher. I don't know if this here will even play out. One thing to look out for here is the 4 hour as well, but it has 2 hours left on it, or 3 hours, so it's got a lot of time. Let's see, one last thing here from Lucas. Lucas mentioned, is it possible to get that red-green window when trades are running on MT4? I don't think that tool is available on MT4, Lucas. It's just the lines. So unfortunately not, or not that I know of. Yeah, Nick said, yeah, they need more regional traders to play. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. It's 8:05 right now, so it's past 8 o'clock. We're going to eat that loss for today, unfortunately, but it's okay. We'll bounce back tomorrow for Friday as we close out this trading week. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day, and I will see you guys back here.